members here for this awareness session on exploring export opportunities to international trade engineering sourcing show, which is IESS, and the 12th edition is coming up very shortly. So this is an awareness on that, as well as a session on recent developments in GST and the way forward, one of the most critical subjects for every MSME enterprise in the current scenario. And today's session ideally is organized by EEPC, but I am here to moderate on behalf of Jaya Basu ma'am, as she's recently taken over as the Regional Director of EEPC. Most of you must be aware of Kaushik Bhattacharya standing at the back. He is basically the person who has been coordinating all the membership as well as engineering export promotion councils benefits and bringing them across to the MSMEs. I stand here as on behalf of World Trade Center, as we are the export facilitation cell under the MSME department. We have been operating in that capacity for the last 1.5 years. So I request, we have our dignitaries on the stage. We have Shri Smarajit Mahanti, President OSSIA, Mr. Tarun Kumar Mahanti, GMDIC as our Chief Guest, Mrs. Jaya Basu, Regional Director EEPC, Mr. Pranav Kumar from ECGC, Mr. Ishan Tulsian from R.Tulsian and Co. Kolkata. He is our resource person on GST today.
Thank you everyone. Good afternoon to all. I would like to welcome each and every one of you to OSSIA for today's awareness session on exploring export opportunities through International Engineering Sourcing Show, as well as an awareness session on recent developments in GST and way forward. So I would like to extend my warm regards to the board members at OSSIA and EEPC before beginning with the session. I would like to share my heartfelt gratitude and warm regards to Mrs. Jaya Basu, the Regional Director at EEPC India Eastern Region, to Mr. Samarjit Mohanty, the respected President at OSSIA, to Mr. Tarun Kanta Mohanty, the General Manager DIC, MSME Department of Odisha, to Mrs. Nimeshika Natarajan, the Assistant Director at WTC, to Mr. Pranav Kumar, the Branch Manager at ECGC Limited, Bhubaneswar, and to Mr. Kaushik Bhattacharya, the Assistant Director at EEPC India. So let us begin with the session. So what I have tried to do is, my presentation is, I have tried to make my presentation too exhaustive, but since we have only 45 minutes plus 10 minutes of question answers, so we are going to try to keep it brief. But I will try to give you the essence of each and every important relevant amendments which have happened in the 53rd GST Council meeting held on 22nd of June 2024. The budget, union budget, which was assented by the President on the 16th of August 2024, as well as the 54th GST Council meeting, which was held the day earlier in evening. The press release had come out, right? So before beginning, see, from clauses 110 to clause 152 of the Finance Bill, which is the Finance Act 2024, this is pertaining to all the GST amendments which have been announced or which have been presented in the Finance Bill, which has become the Finance Act, which we call the Finance Budget 2024. But please note, none of these have been notified yet. What does this mean? This means that the orders, notices will keep on coming regarding all of these, because the amendments have not taken legal force. They will be notified in the days to come. In the days to come means in September, October, November, December. We don't know, but separate notifications will come. Means it will be signed in the official gazette. So right now, but we still need to know what are these changes. I have given a bird's eye view of all these amendments. See, beginning with the amnesty scheme, we know there is a settlement of dispute scheme. Amnesty scheme matlab samadhan scheme. Vivad se vishwas, like we know in income tax. The same is come in GST. Extremely important for us to understand from small scale industries members' perspective. Let us try to understand this slide first. For financial year 2017-18, let us see the last column. That is the last date to issue the demand order for non-fraud cases under section 73 of CGST Act. The last date to issue any demand order for financial year 17-18. GST started on 1st of July 2017. So 17-18, first year of GST. Last date to issue the demand order was 31st of December 2023. तो चला गया. 3 months for appeal is given, plus 1 more month for condonation plea. So 4 months for appeal filing means up to 30th of April, the SSC could have filed an appeal against any order for 17-18 in non-fraud cases. Now that time limit is gone. So right now, what is the situation? We have filed appeals. Appeal orders have also come out in most of the cases, and we are waiting for GST. That is the GST tribunal. Or we are waiting for a settlement dispute scheme. Okay, that is for the fate of all the orders and appeal orders for 17-18 clear. For 18-19, the next year, what is the last date for the order for non-fraud cases? 30th of April. So 3 months for appeal means 30th of April plus 30 May, June, July. 31st of July was the last date for filing appeal. Plus 1 more month for condonation means 30th of August, which is gone 20 days ago, 10 days ago. So right now we are in the process of filing appeals, or appeal order has also come out. Extremely important for us to understand where we are currently and whether we are eligible for any Samadhan scheme or not. Third thing, the latest, 1920. The last date to issue assessment order was 10 days ago, 31st of August. Now appeals are being filed because from 31st of August, 3 months, under section 107, red means section 78, we can file appeals. So sir, 17, 18, 19, 20 के लिए ये समाधान स्कीम आया है, settlement of dispute scheme. Now what is the settlement of dispute scheme? Sir, 31st of March 2025, मतलब अगले 6 महीने में ये नोटिस देखिए. इसमें नोटिस में what do we see? This is the demand order. Tax we can see 50,536 tax column. And what we can see interest 48,000, almost the amount of the entire tax, 95%, and penalty of 20,000. So sir, this order came out on 20th of February. We are in September. Add 6 more months of interest. Now the interest would become 60,000. Tax is only 50,000. Penalty is 20,000. So for total demand of 1,20,000, there is only 50,000 of actual tax. But 70,000-80,000 of interest and penalty. Who wants to pay? I want to understand. I don't want to contest. I don't have merit in my case. Or I know through my CA, lawyer, CMA that in certain cases I will not get relief at the range level. I don't have the money or don't want to litigate. So sir, कोई problem नहीं है. विवाद से विश्वास scheme, समाधान scheme, amnesty scheme, whatever you call this. Section 128A. It is there for our benefit. क्या बोलते हैं? ये पूरा 50,536. Please make the payment, and you will get relief of entire penalty, entire interest. So out of 1,20,000, 1,30,000 of demand order, and interest is accumulating every day. You pay only tax 50,000. You will get relief of 70,000-80,000. Who will not want to take this? If you don't want to contest, if you believe that your case does not have that much of merit. Now sir, इसमें क्या-क्या चीज covered नहीं है? What is not covered? What is not covered? Any case which is under fraud, which is any show cause notice, any demand order which has come out, which is under section 74, where the department is saying that you have done some fraud, some willful misstatement, you cannot take benefit of amnesty scheme. Sir, one more thing is not covered. Any demand order or any notice which has been issued for erroneous refund of tax. मतलब कि गवर्नमेंट से आप 50 करोड़ रिफंड ले लिए हैं और गवर्नमेंट आपको ऐसे छोड़ देगा, बोलेगा कि नहीं आप पैसा रख लीजिए amnesty scheme में. No, that is erroneous refund you've taken out from the government. You have to return back. That is not covered in this. Let us see this particular slide. Sir, क्या क्या covered नहीं है? A70 10. Are we aware what is A70 10? Scrutiny notice. It is not a adjudication notice. 73 का notice ही नहीं है. It's not a show cause notice. Not covered. Any GST audit which has happened, but show cause notice comes afterwards, after audit. Wait for the show cause notice or the order. So if you are in GST audit phase, you cannot avail the amnesty scheme. You have to wait for the show cause notice or the order. And what is covered, as I have told you, everything out here which I mentioned, any show cause notice issued under section 73, non-fraud cases for 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, any demand order issued in non-fraud cases 73, which is for 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, any appellate order also issued by the first appellate authority, which is the additional commissioner, joint commissioner, that is also covered. So now you will say that, sir, अच्छा मेरे को आज ही sir payment करना है, मेरे को interest payment नहीं करना है. Like the way in this particular notice, in this particular order. So sir, you please don't make payment right now in DRC 03. Please wait for the section to be notified. Section 128A. 2 days ago, on the 54th GST Council meeting, on the 9th of September, the date of notification of this amnesty scheme has been mentioned, which is 1st of November 2024. And then what will happen? A new rule will come out. Rule 164, along with certain forms which will come out. Then avail that, make the payment of tax before 31st of March 2025, and you will get 100% waiver of interest and penalty for 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 24, only non-fraud cases. Right? This is the Samadhan scheme. Sir, there are many exporters amongst us. Now, as we know, exporters can apply for refund without, under LUT bond also, that is when you are making export without payment of IGST, or you can apply for refund which is with payment of tax. That is, first one is without payment of tax under LUT bond is Rule 89, read with Section 54. Second is with payment of tax is Rule 96. Read with Section 54. Now, sir, in the latter case, हम लोग क्या करते हैं? When we are exporting, we make the payment of tax, and then we automatically get the what? The refund. How? We file our GSTR 3B. We file our GSTR 1. GSTR 3B is deemed to be a shipping bill is deemed to be a what? A refund application. So if all the details in GSTR 1, sale, export, port code, shipping port, everything, taxable value, they match with our EGM details, they match with our GSTR 1 details, they match with our details of the IceGate portal. So then within 10-15 days we get automated refund. We know that. Now sir, tell me something. Let us see this particular case. In the month of September 2024, we have made an export with payment of IGST of 1 lakh rupees taxable value and IGST is 18,000. 18% है. हम लोग पेमेंट कर दिए और हम लोग को बिल भी गया 10-15 दिन में, काम खत्म. But sir, what happened? 2 months later in December 2024, we had to issue a debit note. Debit note क्यों issue किए? We are exporting what? For example, iron ore. यहाँ पर टेस्टिंग करते हैं 10% moisture we take. We are conservative. So there is the wet metric ton is less, but it goes for testing at China, the discharge port. वहाँ पर टेस्टिंग करते हैं, बोलते हैं moisture content is only 6%. So I have exported incremental 4% more on 1000 metric ton, 500 metric ton, 10 metric ton, whatever. So I have to issue a debit note, means I have made further sale of export. अब sir, when I have made an export with payment of IGST initially, तो उसका तो पैसा मिल गया. But जब debit note if I issue, which is incremental export, I have to again make payment of tax. Will I get back that refund? No. Under automated refund filing system, we are not getting back because वो shipping bill already use हो चुका है in the first refund. That particular shipping bill GSTR 1 has already been used. So now this money has been blocked, which I have made payment on issue of debit note for further sale. So this is a working capital blockage for all us exporters. Just because we have chosen the automated refund filing, our payment, additional payment of IGST on issue of debit note due to price escalation later. So now what has happened is they are saying that sir, no problem. This particular additional amount of IGST which you have issued on debit note of 9,000, you will get back that refund also. But not under automated method because उसका तो shipping bill use हो चुका है आपका original export के साथ में. What you can do? You can file under RFD 01, which is in case where we file refund application when we have not paid any IGST, right? Under LUT and bond, that is we apply for refund application in RFD 01. Who is the assessing officer? Custom officer now or GST officer? GST officer, because we are applying in RFD 01. When in case of with payment of IGST, normal case, our assessing officer is custom officer, he sits at the port. But now for additional payment of IGST due to price escalation later, then our what assessing officer who? It becomes a GST officer. We know where our GST range is. We can go there and talk. We have to submit certain other documents. All that particular. This is Rule 89 1B. It is yet to be notified, sir. But it is an additional advantage for us. And within 2 years we can apply for that refund. आप बोलेंगे सर 17, 18, 18, 19 में मेरा पैसा फंसा हुआ है. वो तो 2 साल निकल गया है. No. The notification when it comes out to bring into effect the new Rule 89 1B 2 years from that. So we can apply for even refund application in RFD 01 from the date of notification of this new rule whenever it comes out, even for 17, 18, 18, 19 payment in export. for debit notes. Now let us understand this, sir. One more benefit, one more chocolate which has been given by the CPIC, that is for financial year 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, 20-21. Sir, कितना problem हुआ था कि inadmissible input tax credit because I have filed my GST 3B after the last date to claim input tax credit. Can anyone tell me the last date to claim input tax credit for 23-24? It is very nice. 30th of November 2024. For 23-24, it is 30th of November 2024. Can anyone tell me the last date to claim input tax credit for 18-19, 19-20, 20-21? Exactly. That is the due date of filing of September GST 3B return of the next year. That is 20th of October. मतलब क्या है? 18-19 का कोई भी अगर input है, हम लोग अगर GST 3B में उसको क्लेम करते हैं, लास्ट कब तक क्लेम कर सकते हैं? अगले साल का सितंबर रिटर्न का ड्यू डेट, which is 20th of October. तो 18-19 का क्या डेट था? 20th of October 2019. 19-20 का क्या डेट था? 20th of October 2020. 2021 का लास्ट डेट क्या था? 20th of October 2021. We know all that. सर, कोविड हो गया था. सर, उस टाइम बिजनेस में पैसा नहीं था. सर, सप्लायर ने GSTR 1 लेट से फाइल किया. तो मेरा 2A में ऑटो पॉपुलेट ही नहीं हुआ. I did not get my credit in 2A because my supplier filed his GSTR 1 for September of the next year in December. So last date cut off as sir said is 20th of October. So I am getting notices. I am getting these notices even till today. These notices. Just a moment. I am getting these notices till today. This is a notice from last month. Even after it has come in budget, still department is issuing notices on this case. Why? Because it has not yet been notified. That's why they are doing their work, because the last date to issue any order is 31st of August, which was for 1920. They are doing their job. But ये तो case drop हो जाएगा. Why? Because of this amendment. क्या amendment आया? Section 16, subsection 5, new section. उसमें क्या बोलते हैं? 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, 20-21, 4 years. If I have claimed any input tax credit pertaining to any invoice or debit note of 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, 20-21, and if I have filed my any GSTR 3B return before 30th of November 2021, my God, पूरा सभा चट मैदान दे दिए. मतलब 17-18 का कोई input है, if we have claimed later in 18-19 after the due date, 18-19 का if I have claimed the input in December 2019 after 20th October 2019, तो मेरे पास जो नोटिसेस आ रहे हैं कि आप रिवर्स करिए because you have violated section 16 subsection 4, सब cases dropped because you have still claimed it. एक तो महीना लेट हुआ है, कोई प्रॉब्लम. यहाँ पर तो बोल रहे हैं claim the input up to 30th of November 2021. तो 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, 20-21 का आप कोई भी 3B में क्लेम किए है, वो 3B कभी भी फाइल किए 30th November 2021 के पहले तो फाइल करेंगे ना. नाउ आप सर आप मेरे को ये बोलेंगे सर 18-19 का I have claimed input, उस टाइम ऐसे मस्ती में I found out 2 years later, मैं बुक्स में एंट्री कर दिया 2 साल पहले का इनवॉइस and I claimed it in my GSTR 3B of 18-19 input. I claimed it in 2021, 21-22. मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा? Will we get the credit or not? As per this particular amendment, we will get the credit because I have claimed that particular input in my any GSTR 3B filed up to 30th of November 2021. Very big benefit. Second example, कोई भी for example, I have not filed my GSTR 3B from August 2023 to January 2024. 6 months. Can anyone tell me from the crowd what will be the consequence if I don't file my GSTR 3B for consecutive 6 months? GST registration can be cancelled suo moto. Everyone knows, right? Suo moto मतलब ऑफिसर के हाथ में है, पकड़ करके कैंसिल कर देगा. अंडर सेक्शन 29 रेड विद रूल 21. We know that. ठीक है सर. एग्जांपल लेते हैं अगस्त 23 टू जनवरी 24. सर बहुत तबीयत खराब था या तो बिजनेस में पैसा ही नहीं था. सीजनल बिजनेस है सर. I did not have the money. I did not file my 3B. Okay, fine. You did not file your 3B. The department issued a suo moto cancellation when in February. Retrospective from August 2023. Simple है. वो कैंसिल कर दिया. You went to writ. You filed a writ. क्या you filed appeal against that and you got the order for revocation. You got the order for revocation of cancellation when on 31st of December 2024. कब ऑर्डर निकला था? February 24 for cancellation. You got revocation order. Revocation order मिल गया मतलब अब वापस से जीवित हो गया आपका GST registration when 31st of December 2024 मतलब end of the year. अच्छा sir, tell me something. Last date to claim input tax credit for any invoice pertaining to August 23 to January 24 was when? August 23 से January 24 का जो अपना input है, वो कब तक last claim कर सकते हैं? That is 30th of November 2024, as sir said. But order ही मेरा आया है for revocation on 31st of December. Order का मतलब क्या हुआ? Before that, I cannot file my GST or 3B, cannot file my GST or because I am cancelled. I can't even access anything. I can't file anything because the order has been passed after 30th of November. That it has deprived me of the opportunity to file my GST or 3B to claim the input pertaining to 23-24. Isn't it unfair on me? Registration तो अभी जीवित हो गया, लेकिन 30th November निकल गया, बाद में order निकाली है. Now they are saying amendment section 16 subsection 6. They are saying we want to give you a fair opportunity. 31st December को order निकला है for revocation of cancellation. 30 days from 30th December means 31st of January 2025 के अंदर में अगर आप सब अपना GST or 3B from August 23 to January के March 24, if you file your 3B, if you file your 1, you pay interest, penalty, late fees, everything, you can claim the input of 23-24. Big benefit. Right? Now let us move ahead and understand more changes. Sir, one more very nice change. Let us see this particular example. Sir, in the year 2019-20 on 25th of January 2020, let us read this example. I took a service from unregistered GTA. Truck lorry वाला जो होता है consignment note issue करता है, is a goods transport agency, but he is unregistered. I have taken service गाड़ी भाड़ा बालासोर से यहाँ पर कटक आने का. Or I have not made the payment of tax to him, I have forgotten. Self invoice भी I did not create nothing. I didn't take the input, I didn't make any payment. ये कब का केस है सर? 2019-20, 25th of January. Last date to issue order for 1920 was 31st of August. तो audit हुआ GST audit under section 65. मेरे पास show cause notice आया. When 5 years later. कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है उसमें. When on 10th of May 2024 show cause notice आता है. बोलता सर 2019-20 का you had to pay tax under RCM because you have taken service from an unregistered party which is a GTA. We all know the rule, section 9 subsection 3, that we have to pay 5% RCM, right? I did not pay. So make the payment now along with applicable interest for 5 years, 18% into 5, 90% of the tax, and you will not even get the credit because the last date to claim input tax credit of 1920 was 20th of October 2020. This was a big problem. So now there is an exception which has been made. In any case when I am taking any service from an unregistered party, मतलब lawyer, मतलब कोई भी residential dwelling or commercial dwelling, from 2 days ago we know in 54 GST council meeting, any unregistered person is giving his ये यहाँ पर जगह दे रहा है for rent, it will be under RCM and it is being received from a unregistered supplier. ये सब cases में advocate का, GTA का और whatever other cases there, if I have to claim credit, what is the rule? We all know we have to issue a self invoice because unregistered party है, GST में registered नहीं है, how will he issue a bill to us? So we have to issue a bill called a self invoice under section 31 subsection 3 clause F. वो self invoice के basis पे I can claim input. अब जो amendment आया है, they are saying that you can issue this self invoice anytime within a period to be specified. तो specify नहीं किए. तो जो सर्विस है मेरा जनवरी 2020 का 1920 का, आई एम फ्री टू इशू द सेल्फ इनवॉइस टुडे बिकॉज़ आई एम मेकिंग द पेमेंट टुडे अंडर ऑडिट. सो आई विल इशू अ सेल्फ इनवॉइस, एक कागज लूंगा, लेटर हेड अपना डालूंगा जो भी है मोहिंती एंड एसोसिएट्स, और उसमें अपना एक सेल्फ इनवॉइस क्रिएट कर दूंगा, स्टैम्प कर दूंगा, और आई विल मेक द पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स एंड आई विल बी एलिजिबल टू क्लेम इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट अप टू व्हेन. आज मैं इशू करता हूं इनवॉइस September 11 2024. So this becomes an invoice pertaining to 2024-25. Last date to claim input tax credit of any invoice of 24-25 is 30th November 2025. So try to understand the big benefit. I had to make payment of tax pertaining to a service which I took in 2019-20. In January 2020, I am making the payment of tax now in 2024 by issuing self invoice. And डेट ऑफ इशू ऑफ सेल्फ इनवॉइस अभी तक नोटिफाई नहीं हुआ कि कितना दिन के अंदर इशू करना है, बट बेनिफिट दिया गया है जिस दिन में आप सेल्फ इनवॉइस इशू करेंगे वो साल का माना जाएगा और वो साल के हिसाब से अगला 30 नवंबर तक आप क्लेम कर सकते हैं. सो बिग टैक्स प्लानिंग वी कैन डू. और फॉर ऑल द पेमेंट्स व्हिच वी हैव मेड अर्लियर टू अनरजिस्टर्ड, जो भी आपके ये अनरजिस्टर्ड ये सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स, if we have made payment of tax, we can claim the input tax credit now by just issuing a self invoice. This is a big benefit which has been provided. Sir, credit notes. What is required now? This is an onerous burden. ये कोई अच्छा चीज नहीं है. What has become an onerous burden? Try to understand. I am a manufacturer. I have wholesaler, retailer. I sell refrigerators. What is there? I will sell 100. You sell 100 refrigerator. I will give you post sale discount, target discount, volume discount, post sale discount. We all know that, right? Now 6 months later, my retailer he meets his target. So he tells me, okay, sir, issue a credit note. Give me discount. Okay, no problem with that. I have sold 100 rupees of sale earlier. तो उसके ऊपर में how much tax I have collected? 5%. 5 rupees I have collected from my retailer. I have made the payment to the government. 6 months later, I issue a post sale discount credit note of 20 rupees. मतलब my next sale is 100 minus 20, 80 rupees. And my retailer's net purchase is 100 minus 20, 80 rupees of purchase. But when I have collected 5 rupees from him initially, I paid to the government, he has claimed 5 rupees of input tax credit initially. अभी मैं if I have to downward adjust my output tax liability for the current month, 6th month, benefit लूंगा ना मैं कितना 20 rupees का credit note पे 5% tax 1 rupee. So 5 rupees पहले payment किया 1 रुपया तो extra payment कर दिया. So I will adjust it now in my 3B. For me to adjust my output tax because I am issuing a credit note. तो सेल कम हो गया. What is the condition? The condition is कि my retailer has to reverse his input tax credit of 1 rupee. अरे सर गवर्नमेंट को 5 रुपया रिसिपिएंट से लिए, गवर्नमेंट को 5 रुपया दे दिए, आपके रिटेलर के पास में 5 रुपया इनपुट था, अभी आप क्रेडिट नोट इशू कर दिए तो नेट सेल आपका 80 रुपया हो गया, तो 4 रुपये तो गवर्नमेंट के पास जाना चाहिए. तो आप 5 रुपये दिए तो आप रिफंड तो लेंगे नहीं ना. यू विल एडजस्ट इट बाय इशूइंग अ क्रेडिट नोट इन योर GST 3B. डाउनवर्ड एडजस्ट द आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी. तो उसको करने के लिए क्या है, उसको तो बोलना पड़ेगा ना रिसिपिएंट को, प्लीज रिवर्स 1 रुपी ऑफ इनपुट. वो इनपुट रिवर्स नहीं करेगा, 5 रुपीस का इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट अवेल करेगा एंड I will also take benefit of 1 rupee less payment of tax. So 6 rupees का benefit हो गया. That's not possible. So what is the thing? Onerous burden for all, sir. Onerous burden for all. In case of any post sale discount, if any credit note is issued and if the ITC pertaining to the discount is more than 5 lakh rupees, तो आपको क्या करना होगा? आप रिसिपिएंट को बोलो अपना CA या तो आपका खुद का CA will give you an undertaking. और वो undertaking में क्या mention होगा? In that undertaking, what will be mentioned? These things will be mentioned. First thing, the details of all the credit notes, जो post sale discount के लिए issue किया गया है. First thing. Second thing, वो undertaking में क्या लिखा रहेगा? Pertaining to all of these post sale credit notes, me recipient, I have reversed all the input tax credit. And I will give the evidence also कि in which GST 3B, in which DRC 03 that I have reversed the input tax credit. I also need to mention linking of invoice with credit note. मतलब कि क्या है, मेरा invoice number 52 on 5th of September 2024 के साथ में मेरा credit note December 2024 का link करना पड़ेगा. Means when I have issued the original invoice and when I have given a discount, I need to link that and mention it in a particular what? In a particular certificate. And this needs to be given by a CA/CMA with UDIN, Unique Document Identification Number. If it is less than 5 lakh rupees, if the ITC pertaining to the post sale discount for a particular recipient is less than 5 lakh rupees for a year, then what the recipient can him itself in his letterhead can give an undertaking. क्या बोलेगा? Sir, आप अपना downward adjust करिए, कोई problem नहीं है on credit note because I have reversed my input tax credit. Now, sir, what is the problem with this case? The problem with this case is we are aware that the linking of invoices with credit notes is it still there or it's cancelled? मतलब क्या है, अभी 1-to-1 क्रेडिट नोट इशू हो रहा है क्या? एक इनवॉइस पे एक क्रेडिट नोट? कैन एनीवन टेल मी? ऐसा हो रहा है कि मल्टीपल इनवॉइसेस पे एक क्रेडिट नोट इशू कर सकते हैं, मतलब 10 इनवॉइस को क्लब करके आई कैन इशू 1 क्यूमुलेटिव क्रेडिट नोट ऑफ डिस्काउंट. कैन आई डू दैट? यस, वी कैन डू दैट फ्रॉम 1st of February 2019. लॉ में है अमेंडमेंट टू सेक्शन 34 व्हिच इज रिक्वायरमेंट फॉर इशू ऑफ क्रेडिट नोट. बट दिस रिक्वायरमेंट इज स्टिल इंटैक्ट इन योर सेक्शन 15 सबसेक्शन, ये जो वैल्यूएशन वाला जो है, जो ये बोल रहा है सेक्शन 15 सबसेक्शन 3 क्लॉज बी सब क्लॉज 2, इसमें क्या बोल रहे हैं? आपको अभी भी लिंकिंग करना पड़ेगा एक क्रेडिट नोट को एक. अब सर हाउ डिफिकल्ट इट इज? आई हैव इशूड 1000 इनवॉइसेस, आई हैव 500 वेंडर्स, मतलब वेंडर्स के मतलब कस्टमर्स. हर कस्टमर के लिए 5000 इनवॉइसेस में मैं एक क्रेडिट नोट इशू करता हूं कि दो क्रेडिट नोट इशू करता हूं, मैं बैठ करके देखूंगा कि अच्छा which credit note is linked with which invoice. It will be a great problem. And sir, we all know credit notes are not just issued for the purpose of discount. It is also issued for the purpose of sale return. It is also issued for the purpose of defective rate differences. So it will be a difficult exercise is what I am trying to say. But this needs to be done. And now you will tell me, sir, prospective hai kya? No, this is retrospective. We need to do it from the beginning of time. In case if we have any scrutiny, audit, investigation, this needs to be done. So please collect all of these certificates from CAs or from your customer in respect to post-sale discount. Acha sir, tell me one thing. This we know one thing, right? If I have sale of 100 rupees, I have a gross liability of 18 rupees, 18% tax, right? Now, if I have a cumulative input tax credit, मेरा मतलब कि opening balance plus accumulated input tax credit is 15 rupees. 18 rupees gross tax liability, 15 rupees accumulated input tax credit. मतलब opening balance plus during the month. I have 3 rupees to pay in cash. Simple. Now sir, भूल से कोई कारण से पोर्टल चल रहा नहीं था, तबीयत खराब हो गया, 20th of October का September रिटर्न मैं फाइल नहीं कर पाया. I filed it on 23rd of October for September 3B for this year. 3 days late payment, मतलब गवर्नमेंट को 3 दिन बाद में पैसा मिला है. Now the interest which the government will charge of 18% per annum, whether it will be charged on the gross tax liability 18 rupees or the net tax liability which is 3 rupees. Can anyone tell me? Very nice. Sir has said net tax liability and it is retrospectively applicable from the beginning of GST. ये benefit दिया हुआ क्यों? क्योंकि input तो मेरा ही है, पहले payment करके बैठा हूँ, it's a vested right. This is one benefit which we have already got. One more benefit the government is giving. What is the government giving? ठीक है, let's take the same example. 18 rupees gross tax liability, 15 rupees input tax credit accumulated plus opening balance. 2 rupees I have deposited in my cash ledger on the 20th of October. Last date to file September GST at 3B. I have taken out from my bank, done NEFT, deposited in the e-cash ledger. So now क्या हो गया? 18 rupees I have to make payment, 15 rupees to credit, 3 rupees I have to make payment net cash, and 2 rupees I already have deposited, but I have not filed my 3B, but I have deposited. I have challan. When up to 20th means the due date of 3B. अब बताइए मेरे को कि आप इंटरेस्ट किस पे लगेगा? 3 रुपया पे भी लगेगा कि 1 रुपया पे लगेगा? That's the amendment, 1 rupee. That's the second benefit which has been given. Why? Because the government is saying, Madras High Court and Eichen Motors, they said, कोई भी पैसा आप e-cash ledger में डाल दिए, you will not get it back until unless it is an additional payment of cash, right? So if you have made any deposit in your cash ledger, consider it to be disposed of. You will get benefit for the calculation of interest. 18 minus 15 input minus 2. So, in any case, if you are unable to file your 3B in time, please deposit the cash. No interest. Only late fee will be there. 25 rupiya. That we can afford, no problem. So, this is an additional benefit which has been provided. This is also the example which I had mentioned here. Corporate guarantees are extremely important. We have sister concern, दो business है. I have one main business which is the holding company and I have one subsidiary company. Sir, tell me one thing, my holding company is bigger or subsidiary? Usually holding company is bigger. If a bigger company will have better bargaining power with the bank or financial institutions to get loan at a better interest rate, better collateral, naturally because it's a bigger net worth company, bigger assets, everything. But my small, जो मेरा बच्चा है, subsidiary company, I have opened a new vertical. It wants loan and I don't want to transfer, take loan in my name. So what will I do? I will say, okay, go to ICICI Bank. I will tell my subsidiary, you are there behind you. I will give you collateral. I will give you corporate guarantee. You take 100 crores loan from ICICI Bank. If tomorrow you default, your business fails, I am there. Your holding company, I will pay back. That is corporate guarantee. That is surety. In case of default, I will make the payment of the default, the loan amount. That is corporate guarantee. Let's tell me one thing. In this example, the subsidiary company SC Limited has got 100 crore loan. It has applied from ICICI Bank. It has got, and GC Limited holding company is giving corporate guarantee. Fine. Sir, tell me one thing. Will the chota small mera bacha charge anything from me for this? No, it will not because it is my holding company. It will merge with my balance sheet. So, but the GST law, they are very strict. They are saying this is corporate guarantee. Schedule 1, read with section 7, read with valuation rule, section 15. They say from the beginning of time, इसके ऊपर में क्या होगा? इसके ऊपर में टैक्स लगेगा. इसके ऊपर में टैक्स लगेगा. We will consider this as a value supply of corporate guarantee. अच्छा, ठीक है, मान लेते हैं. सर, valuation क्या है? 100 करोड़ है क्या? No. the valuation which was given in rule 28 sub rule 2 last year जो आया था 26th of October 2023, क्या बोलते हैं ये 100 करोड़, ये बोलते हैं आप अगर कोई और कुछ पैसा भी अगर if GC Limited has not taken from SC Limited in respect of actual consideration of giving corporate guarantee, still we will deem it as 1% of 100 crores. मतलब 100 करोड़ का लोन सब्सिडरी लिया है, 1 करोड़ का I will consider की वैल्यू ऑफ कॉर्पोरेट गारंटी है, 1 करोड़ डीमिंगली आपको स्मॉल कंपनी को बिग कंपनी को देना है, बिकॉज बड़ा कंपनी रिस्क ऑफ डिफॉल्ट उठाए, इज गिवन यू अ नोशनल सर्विस ऑफ कॉर्पोरेट गारंटी. तो व्हाट इज द डीमिंग वैल्यूएशन 1% और द एक्चुअल कंसिडरेशन व्हिचएवर इज हायर. अच्छा एक्चुअल कंसिडरेशन है, मानिए 2 करोड़ का पैसा देता है एक्चुअल में, सो व्हिचएवर इज हायर. अब इसमें क्या है, 1 करोड़ टैक्स नहीं है, 1 करोड़ के ऊपर 18% टैक्स है, मतलब कि 100 करोड़ का कॉर्पोरेट गारंटी, उसके ऊपर में 1% इज द वैल्यूएशन, उसके ऊपर 18% इज द टैक्स. Tell me one thing, ma'am. Now 18 lakh rupees if the holding company charges from the small company, which is the bacha. The small company will give 1 crore rupees as value for corporate guarantee plus 18% also. 1 crore 18 lakh का working capital. It is taken out from the small company. It goes to the big company. धंधा कैसे करेंगे? धंधा कैसे करेंगे? Simple logic. So what have they said? They have said कि कोई problem नहीं है sir. We are giving you a tax planning tool. Proviso to rule 28 sub rule 2 which has been inserted 2 months ago. What does it say? It says I will not give you that burden, no problem. If the small company, subsidiary company is eligible for 100% claiming of input tax credit, तब क्या करिए, वो जो invoice raise होएगा, which the invoice the holding company is raising for the corporate guarantee of what 1 crore rupees for instance or deeming 1 crore rupees. बड़ा कंपनी invoice raise करेगा ना छोटा कंपनी में, छोटा कंपनी 1 करोड़ देगा प्लस टैक्स देगा 18%, वो 1 करोड़ देने का दरकार नहीं. In the invoice, tell the holding company do tax planning, mention only 50,000. What does this mean? 50,000 rupees का invoice holding company issue करेगा subsidiary company को. In case if subsidiary company, recipient company, it is eligible to claim 100% input tax credit. So 50,000 rupees plus 18% it can be paid. So what does this mean? This means in cases of related party transaction in respect of corporate guarantee, as per the first proviso to rule 28 sub rule 2, the invoice value becomes the open market value. Tax planning. 2-3 कंपनी का कहीं से भी आप लिए हुए, आप सीधा बोलिए होल्डिंग कंपनी को प्लीज पुट एनी वैल्यू, because if the recipient company it can claim 100% input tax. सर कौन से केस में ये वैलिड नहीं होएगा? सर मैं इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बेचता हूँ, it is an exempt supply. सर मैं फूल सब्जी बेचता हूँ, exempt supply. I sell rice, exempt supply. I sell mutual funds, exempt supply. So in case of exempt supply, can anyone tell me, do we need to do any reversal of input tax credit if there is any exempt supply? Yes, section 17 subsection 2 read with rule 42 and 43. जितना अमाउंट का 10 रुपया का इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बेची है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के साथ में चप्पल बेचते हैं, टोटल सेल है आपका 100 रुपया का, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी से 10 रुपया आ गया, तो 10% इज द प्रोपोर्शनेट exempt supply. उसका proportion का total input tax credit you have to reverse. That we should know. So in those cases where the recipient company does any exempt supply also, he is not eligible to claim 100% input tax credit. तो उसमें ये open market value as invoice value, you cannot take the tax planning benefit. You will have to go to the valuation rule, which is deeming 1% of the corporate guarantee value or consideration whichever is higher. बोलने का मतलब क्या है, ये अगर SC लिमिटेड है, SC लिमिटेड अगर कोई भी सब्जी, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, म्यूचुअल फंड्स, एक्सेल सप्लाई नहीं करता है, तो ही कैन आस्क GC लिमिटेड टू इशू 50,000 रुपीज कॉर्पोरेट गारंटी इनवॉइस, उसके ऊपर में 18% टैक्स पेमेंट करके काम खत्म, टैक्स प्लानिंग हो गया. बट ये अगर कोई भी एक्सेल सप्लाई बेचता है, which is the subsidiary company, he will have to go to the valuation rule. तो क्या होएगा, एक्चुअल बैंक लोन, एक्चुअल कॉर्पोरेट गारंटी 100 करोड़, उसके ऊपर 1 करोड़, उसके ऊपर 18% वर्किंग कैपिटल विल बी ब्लॉक. So this one benefit has come and extremely important for us to understand. Now introduction of GSTR 1A. You all must be aware of GSTR 1A, right? GSTR 1, what is the due date of filing GSTR 1 for September 2024 is 11th of October 2024. For monthly filers for QRMP it is 13th. We all know that. Sir, I filed it in haste. गलती हो गया मेरे से. I don't want to wait for the next month. So now there is a particular another form which is given, which is GSTR 1A. Means if I have filed my GSTR 1 on the 6th of October for September, Fine, I can do that. From the 7th of October or the due date, which is the 11th, whichever is later, what new form will open? GSTR 1A will open for me to do rectification. मतलब कि B2B का B2C हो गया, सप्लाई है 1 लाख रुपया का, भूल से एक और 0 10 लाख हो गया, क्रेडिट नोट डेबिट नोट में नंबर डेट चेंज डिफरेंट हो गया, प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई भूल से इनकरेक्ट हो गया. तो all these are the problems. I can rectify it in the same month by filing GSTR 1A. Now, but GSTR 1A will only open after the 11th. So if anything opens after the 11th, then what will happen? Your customer will get the rectified entries credit in GSTR 2B for the same month or for the next month? In the next month. Sorry, after 11th. Next month, sir, or same month? Next month or same month?
अक्टूबर को मिलेगा.
सर सितंबर का 11 तारीख 11 अक्टूबर लास्ट डेट था GSTR 1 फाइल करने का. उसके बाद में आप उसको मतलब कि लेट फीस लगता है. अब ये GSTR 1 एक खुलता ही है 11 तारीख के बाद.
So you will get the input in this month of October.
Exactly. You will get the input in the month of October means on 14th of November your 2B will be generated. बोलने का मतलब क्या है? For the month of September 2024, you will not get the revised details in your GSTR 2B. ये एक महीना बाद में आपको मिलेगा. क्या प्रॉब्लम? कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. My customer will get the money in the next whatever the correct input reflecting in GSTR 2B in the next month. October में मिल जाएगा, right? So this is one more benefit which has been provided, and sir, this has become active. Sir, one more thing. This is a very important, this empowering section, which as a union or as an association, trade chamber of commerce, we should know. ये क्या है? एक आदमी जाएगा कुछ नहीं होएगा, पूरा सब मिलकर के जाएंगे और multiple associations को कुछ होएगा. I'll give you an example. Ice cream. When ice cream was being sold, it was a big dispute whether it is sale of service or sale of goods, 5% या 18%. So I have done 500 crores of business on 5%. 2 years later, the government comes out with some particular ruling कि कोई representation होता है, they say नहीं ये तो 5% नहीं है, ये तो 18% है. So for the last 2 years they can open your case and they will say 500 करोड़ के ऊपर में आप पेमेंट करिए. So this is one SSC. I'm talking about 500 SSCs. मतलब पूरा इकोनॉमी गिर जाएगा related to that industry because it's a market practice, it's a trade parlance, trade practice. Everyone or mostly everyone in the ice cream industry is charging 5%. So government says कि नहीं, हम इतना बड़ा धक्का नहीं देना चाहते आपको. No problem. From today onwards, I will charge 18% on as is, where is basis. I will not go back in time and I will not ask you to pay for all the shortfall. As simple as that. So many cases like that. In cases of गेहूं, when जब पिस करके फ्लावर बनता है, so brand comes out, छावा जो बोलते हैं इसको. That brand valuation of that needs to be added in the job working cost. लेकिन nobody was doing that. Job working means waiver or any additional goods which you get. But that government said should be added. But job workers did not add. So government said I don't want to go behind you guys. You guys are small people. It's a trade practice. No problem. As is, where is basis from today this will happen. It's a benefit. But sir, is there any provision in the law to give this empowering section? No. Anyone will file any suit? No, because it's beneficial for us. But the government has decided to come up with an empowering section that the government ऐसा कुछ कर सके. So that empowering section has come in 11A. Extremely important. In the next 1 month, you will see hundreds of notifications regarding this. I am leaving this on where is basis, etc. We need to keep an eye on this, and as an association, we can take benefit of this. Sir, your this thing time limit for adjudication. सर सबको पता है, क्या पता है? सेक्शन 73 नॉन फ्रॉड केसेस. व्हाट इज द टाइम लिमिट टू इशू? व्हाट इज द टाइम लिमिट टू इशू द ऑर्डर? कौन सा टाइम लिमिट है? द टाइम लिमिट टू इशू ऑर्डर इज 3 years in non fraud cases from the due date of annual return. पता है ना अपने को? 3 years from the due date of annual return is the last date to issue the order for that year. Right? अब 3 months minus that is the last date to issue show cause notice. And non-fraud cases. For fraud cases, it is 5 years minus 6 months for the last date to issue show cause notice. Sir, ये सब खत्म. All this is over. From when? Not from today. The government says मेरे को कोई सर मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता है. 73, 74, 3 years, 5 years, पौने 3 साल show cause notice, 3.5 years, 4.5 years. I don't understand all this. I am merging both the sections 73, 74. Non-fraud cases, show cause notice, fraud cases, show cause notice, make it into a composite section called section 74A. But ये section 74 आने के बाद में आप लोग के दिमाग में सबसे पहले ये आएगा, सर, I'm a bona fide person. ये सामने वाला जो मेरा पड़ोसी है वो तो फेक इनवॉइसिंग करता है, सो अब उसका और मेरा शो कॉज नोटिस सेम आएगा, तो देयर इज एन इक्वल फुटिंग फॉर अ फ्रॉडुलेंट पर्सन एंड अ बोनाफाइड पर्सन. इट गोज अगेंस्ट द एवरी प्रिंसिपल ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. नो, penalty degrees and amounts are still the same, just the section has become one, and they are saying that under this section there is only common date and timeline to issue order. ये let us see this particular slide, section 73 non fraud cases for, ये कब तक है, ये नया सेक्शन कब से आएगा? अभी आपका what did I say, what is which year, कौन सा साल का असेसमेंट चल रहा है? 2019-20 just got over, sir. I have mentioned it here, 31st of August. तो अभी क्या है, 2020 अभी चलेगा, but when is the last date to issue show cause notice? 27th November, 2 महीने बाद, दिवाली के बाद. If I don't get, I can celebrate. I've not got show cause notice under 73, but they can issue me a show cause notice under 74. लेकिन I can contest wherever I done fraud. But what I'm trying to say, the new section is not from not from financial year 2021. No. 2021 के लिए 73-74 है, 21-22, 22-23, 23-24, 24-25 onwards this new section comes in. This new section comes in. ये new section क्या बोलता है? It is very bad for bona fide payers like us. Why? Because the date to issue show cause notice is 33 months. Because 3 साल तक order issue कर सकते हैं minus 3 months. That is 33 months तक show cause notice issue कर सकते हैं. This is the date for order. This is the date for issue of show cause notice in non-fraud cases. This is for fraud cases, 5 years and 6 months before 5 years for show cause notice. Now that is, they have made it 3.5 years. Now, हम लोग को जो show cause notice 2.5 साल में मिलना चाहिए, अभी 3.5 साल हो गया. तो हम लोग के लिए 9 महीना और बढ़ गया for bona fide people to be feeling very very heavy कि 9 महीना और है, I can get a notice. So the 33 months has increased to 42 months. But for fraudulent people, they are celebrating. Why? Because उन लोग का 54 months था for show cause notice issue. It has become to 42 months, which is common 3.5 years. 4.5 years से 3.5 years हो गया fraudulent people. Bona fide people के लिए 2.5 साल 2.75 years से क्या हो गया 3.5 years. ये तो चीज समझना है. But sir, you will ask me, sir, अच्छा क्या benefit है sir? I am bona fide, my neighbor is fraudulent, same section, same notice, same timeline. No sir, the penalties are still different. Can anyone tell me what are the penalty rates for non-fraud cases? If I make voluntary payment before show cause notice comes, no penalty. Under non-fraud cases 73, we all know that. Show cause notice also comes within 30 days. I accept sir गलती हुआ है. I make the payment with interest, no penalty. Section 73 subsection 8. अभी order निकल गया. Under section 73 subsection 9. So penalty is only 10% of the tax or 10,000 whichever is higher. But for fraudulent cases, उसमें क्या है 100% penalty of tax amount. Starting में बोल देते. But there are subsidized benefits. क्या benefit है? आप अगर voluntary payment कर देते हैं before issue of show cause notice in fraudulent cases also, still a fraud कुछ किया 15% penalty लगेगा, 100% नहीं लगेगा, 85% माफ. Show cause notice issue हो जाता है under section 74 fraud. If you make payment within 30 days, 100% नहीं payment करना है, 25% payment. Order में निकल जाता है under section 74 and 30 days के अंदर में भी आप payment करते हैं, 100% penalty payment नहीं करना, 50% करना. All those things are still there in 74A because they want to create a clear distinction, right? So,
What about interest?
Sir, interest needs to be paid under section 50. Interest will always go hand in hand, glove with the tax. If tax is not sustainable in the demand notice, interest can definitely be waived off or absorbed. But there is no benefit for interest. If tax has to be paid, interest has to be paid. This is just for the penalty difference.
From the initial amount.
Yes, initial amount means tax amount का 100 रुपए का डिमांड आपका रेज हो गया, उसपे इंटरेस्ट है 50 रुपीज 80% करके 3 साल का. But it is not fraud case. Order has come out. You are making payment of only 10% of the tax amount as penalty or 10,000 whichever is higher because it's a non-fraud case. But if it's a fraud case, order comes out within 30 days, you can still avail 50% benefit. You can pay 50% penalty. You can save 50% penalty because under 74 naturally 100% penalty is there. As per section 74 subsection 1. इसमें क्या है एक और बेनिफिट दिया है 30 डेज में बार-बार बोल रहा हूं 30 डेज शो कॉज नोटिस 30 डेज ऑर्डर ये 30 डेज को 60 डेज कर दिया. वन मोर बेनिफिट कुछ मेरे से बोनाफाइड से ले रहे हैं 2.5 साल का शो कॉज नोटिस का टाइम जो है उसको 3.5 साल कर रहे हैं तो कुछ देंगे भी ना. नाउ दे आर गिविंग मी 60 डेज फॉर मी टू मेक पेमेंट वॉलंटरीली और आफ्टर इश्यू ऑफ शो कॉज नोटिस टू गेट सब्सिडाइज्ड पेनल्टी. बोलने का मतलब क्या हुआ आज मेरे पास में नोटिस आया नोटिस आने के बाद में आई स्टिल हैव 60 days टू मेक द पेमेंट एंड आई विल नॉट हैव टू पे एनी पेनल्टी अंडर 73. under 74 fraud cases, I still have 60 days. I will still get 60 days. I will have to only make payment of 25% of penalty. So this has been an added advantage, but this is again from 24-25. आपका existing adjudication procedure of 73-74 and timelines will continue till 23-24. So this is a problem or an amendment for the future. The future is sir 89.89 serial number 89 देखिए for 24, 25, 25, 26. When is the last date to issue show cause notice? 30th June 2029. Why? Because the last date to issue annual return is 31st December 2025. Please add what? 3.5 years to that. As I told you, 3.5 years is 42 months is the date for issuing of show cause notice under section 74 common for fraud and non-fraud case. 3.5 साल from 31st December is 30th June 2029. So this is a problem for later, sir. Right now, we are dealing with 2021, 21, 22, आएगा अगला साल 22, 23, 23, 24. 2-3 years later. But we need to understand this. Major amendment. Okay, I have certain other slides as well. If you want me to continue for 5 minutes, I can cover more, or I can open the floor for any question answer also. There are 1-2 things which I would like to mention before. After that, in I think 2-3 minutes, sir. 2-3 minutes, fine. Okay. Okay. In 2-3 minutes, sir. Let me just wrap up. This is a very important and good decision. मतलब कि जो अभी आया है, सर बात समझिए. मेरा 10 लाख का पेमेंट करना था, ठीक है? I did not make the payment. I went for appeal. 3 months appeal का time है. Under section 107, 3 महीना का under section 78. कोई problem नहीं. I have to make pre-deposit. Can anyone tell me pre-deposit amount percentage? It is 10% of the tax amount. तो 10 लाख का 1 लाख रुपया pre-deposit payment करना है. सर मैं DRC 03 में जा करके DRC 03 we all know it's voluntary payment का एक तो फॉर्म होता है. I go there ignorant and I make the payment of 1 lakh. नीचे में comment लिख देता हूँ मैं pre-deposit for appeal. So usually what happens when you do pre-deposit, stay proceedings happen, means they are not going to proceed under section 79, they will not attach your bank statement, they will not do any recovery proceedings because you have applied for an appeal, right? अब मैं appeal का pre-deposit payment कर दिया DRC 03, that is not the correct way to do it. I have to make the payment through the appeal tab portal में. तो इसमें क्या बोलते हैं? If any payment you have made by mistake in DRC 03 as voluntary in nature earlier, it can now be appropriated against your demand order, even against the demand order or as your क्या as your pre-deposit. मतलब क्या हुआ? Investigation के time में 40 लाख रुपया मैंने पेमेंट कर दिया. Behind closed doors, I was coerced. अरे सर पेमेंट करना ही था मेरे को. But law does not coerce you to make any payment during investigation. Payment सिर्फ करना है जब डिमांड ऑर्डर निकलता है. डिमांड ऑर्डर तो 1 साल बाद में निकलेगा. Investigation is a mechanism. उसके बाद में adjudication के पास में जाते हैं. They do assessment, then order आता तब पेमेंट करते हैं. But I was coerced. I made payment 40 lakh rupees voluntarily in under section 73 subsection 5. Voluntary नहीं था. मेरे को बोल के रखे थे अरेस्ट करने के अभी तो पेमेंट करिए. I made that payment. अब सर वो पेमेंट तो कर दिए 2 साल बाद में उसका क्या है? शो कॉज नोटिस आया, डिमांड आया. तो आप बोलेंगे सर 40 लाख तो पहले का पेमेंट किया है उसको एडजस्ट करो पहले. बोलते हम नहीं मानेंगे आप पेमेंट किए. That is the problem. So they are saying आप जो पहले का वॉलंटरी पेमेंट किए हो, you can use that and appropriate, मतलब set off against the existing demand liability, even in the nature of pre-deposit for appeal. तो उसके लिए एक फॉर्म they will come out with DRC 03A. उसमें क्या है? वो खोलेंगे DRC 03 का ARN डालेंगे, you will get all the details of payment. डिमांड का ऑर्डर का नंबर डालेंगे, you will get all the liability and you will press appropriate, it will appropriate. So you will get the benefit of any voluntary payment which you have made not in the correct manner, but in DRC 03 you can set it off against any demand order as against liability in electronic liability ledger or with your as a pre-deposit. So ये एक benefit और दिया गया है. Sir, I get a particular order from the department और सर मैं बोलता हूँ कि डिपार्टमेंट अपील नहीं करेगा. I am very confident. लेकिन सर डिपार्टमेंट अपील कर लेता है. डिपार्टमेंट can also appeal. I can appeal, so department can also appeal. Sir, just imagine 6 years into GST, they didn't have any slabs for the threshold limits for department to appeal. मतलब कि 1 लाख का अगर रुपया का ऑर्डर आया है, तो डिपार्टमेंट अपील कर सकता है कि नहीं कर सकता है? और 1 करोड़ का आया है, तो डिपार्टमेंट अपील कर सकता है कि नहीं कर सकता? Nobody knew. They were following the central excise वाला rule, 50 lakhs वाला. अभी that has been 75, 30 लाख रुपया, 20 lakh rupees. Okay, so now we can go through these particular presentations and all that. So what I would say is that now this particular rule has come that 20 lakh rupees is only there, right? If an order is there of less than 20 lakh rupees tax, you can celebrate, department will not go into appeal. But if it is more than 20 lakh rupees, we will still be very acha, department can go for appeal on that. Okay. So with that, okay, I wrap up the presentation. I open the floor for any questions regarding these topics or any other topics as well. Or if any discussion, anyone wants any insight or any tax planning or anything from this 54 GST Council meeting also, an announcement which has come 2 days ago. So you guys can ask. Yes, sir. Any questions? Any questions to the house? Ask.
When I issue a credit note,
Yes, sir.
against a particular
Yes,
bill,
sir.
and that is accounted in invoices, I issue it. The next return given by my customer, he also files this amount comes back to me in the cash ledger. Whatever I have paid, because the bill is cancelled, the sale is reversed, so I get back the GST I paid into my cash ledger. Should I utilize
Cash ledger, how will you get, sir? You have issued.
my credit? I get into my credit.
No, you have issued a sale of 100 rupees.
Yes.
On that, you have collected 18 rupees. You have made payment to the government.
Yes.
18 rupees is the input tax credit for the buyer.
Yeah.
Now you have issued credit note of, for example, 50 rupees.
Okay.
So 9 rupees you have to downward adjust your liability, and 9 rupees he has to reverse his input tax credit. Yes. Then, sir.
So I get this 9 for future use.
Yes. Future use, no sir. Up to 30th of November of the next year, you can downward adjust your liability in any GST or 3B return of output tax liability. It will not come in your electronic credit ledger, it will not come in your electronic cash ledger. This is not an incentive which will auto-populate like TDS under GST. It is where you have to reduce your output tax liability by hand in table 3.1A of 3B return. Yes.
But then should I utilize it in the same month? Supposing I issued the credit note in October, do I have to utilize it in October against my sales? Or I can carry forward like an input?
Sir, you can carry it forward, but what is the benefit? You can only do so up to the 30th of November of the next year. So in whichever month there is hefty sales or hefty tax amounts to be paid, you can set it off against that. That is not a problem. But sir, that is not the bigger question right now. The bigger question is if it is in the case of any post-sale discount. So in that particular case, you need to ensure you get a certificate if it's less than 5 lakh rupees from your recipient, more than 5 lakh rupees from your CA, that he has reversed his 9 rupees in his books and in this 3B. Then only you will be able to downward adjust. Right now, in fact, one more answer to this, table 3 has started negative figures also. Has anyone faced this problem earlier, 2017, 18, 19, till now, that I had zero sale, but I have credit note, sir, as sir is saying, of 9 rupees. I have to adjust it against my output tax liability, but there is no output tax liability only. मैं यहाँ पर सीजनल बिजनेस कर रहा हूँ साड़ी का, मेरा बिजनेस जो है जुलाई अगस्त सितंबर में चलता नहीं है, सिर्फ मेरा विंटर्स में चलता है. तो जुलाई अगस्त सितंबर में if I issue any credit note, I have zero sale. Can I adjust that? No, earlier I would not, because table 3 would not accept negative liabilities. अभी क्या हो गया है, आपका सेल जीरो है, बट आपको सेल और कम करना है, टैक्स और कम पेमेंट करना है, लेकिन टैक्स है ही नहीं आपका 3B में पेमेंट करने का. तभी भी आप -9 डाल सकते हो उधर, और आपको क्या मिलेगा, आपका इनपुट जो है उसमें आपका वो पर्टिकुलर ऐड हो जाएगा और नीचे में आपका पेमेंट कम हो जाएगा. राइट? सो दिस बेनिफिट हैज बीन प्रोवाइडेड. हां,
We have received a credit note, almost 1.8 lakh. What should we do? Should we deposit some money or will it remain silent?
sorry sir, come back again. You received a credit note
From our supplier.
Okay.
What is your duty?
So if you have received a credit note, first thing we need to see whether that credit note has been issued under section 34. There are 3 conditions under section 34 for a legitimate GST credit note. First is that there should be an agreement between you and your supplier at the time of entering the transaction or before that what is the purpose of the credit note. First thing, if it is any discount or anything like that. If it is any sale return, defective thing which you are returning back, they can issue credit note. Second condition, B has to issue credit note before 30th of November of the next year. You have checked everything, it is a legitimate credit note under section 34. Your responsibility is, sir, what will you do? You will issue a debit note in your books of accounts. It has no relevance for GST, but you have to reverse that GST of 5% on 1,80,000 rupees. That is 60 rupees of GST. You have to what? You have to reverse in your GSTR 3B. because you have claimed input tax credit on your entire purchase amount earlier. Now that purchase amount to the extent of the credit note is being reduced. So you have to reduce your credit input tax credit which you have claimed earlier.
If it actually post sales.
If it is post sale discount, as I mentioned, it is again your responsibility, sir, that you have to reverse the input tax credit, and only if you reduce the input tax credit that your supplier can get the benefit of reducing his output tax liability in his GST 3B. So the supplier will be behind your life to say that अच्छा reverse किया मेरे को कागज दिखाइए, send me the 3B return, kindly send me a certificate. You have to reverse your input tax credit.
If the supplier doesn't say anything.
If supplier does not say anything, if you don't reverse your input tax credit, that credit note will appear in your GSTR 2B because he has uploaded that credit note in his GSTR 1. It will auto-populate in your GSTR 2B. In GSTR 2B, if it is auto-populated, in your GSTR 3B, there is table 4A5 where you claim input tax credit of any other. So जितना भी 2B में इनपुट है या क्रेडिट नोट है वो ऑटो पॉपुलेट हो जाता है टेबल 45 में भी नो दैट. तो क्रेडिट नोट भी ऑटो पॉपुलेट होएगा तो आपका इनपुट ऑलरेडी कम हो गया. यू डोंट नीड टू डू एनीथिंग, इट इज ऑलरेडी रिड्यूस्ड. इवन इफ यू डोंट रिड्यूस, व्हाट विल रिड्यूसेस इट? सिंपल. और आपका अगर उसमें इतना हिम्मत है कि उसको ऐड बैक करना है आपको, दैट इज क्लियर वायलेशन बिकॉज़ ही हैज इशूड अ क्रेडिट नोट. So kindly ask him to cancel that credit note or issue a debit note to cancel that. But sir, it is your statutory obligation to reduce your input tax credit if he has issued a credit note. If you don't do so, you will have to pay interest. Yes.
आपका एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वैल्यू है जिसका 1 करोड़ 18 लाख है.
वापस एक बार बोलिए सर.
एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हमने लिया गवर्नमेंट से जिसका कि 1 करोड़ 18
ठीक है, ठीक है.
बेसिक वैल्यू 18 लाख है.
ठीक है सर, ठीक है.
अब गवर्नमेंट उसके ऊपर एंटी लगाई 1 लाख. ठीक है, वो इनपुट टैक्स रहेगा या एक्सपोर्ट टैक्स?
गवर्नमेंट क्या लगाई है?
लिक्विडिटी डैमेज.
लिक्विडिटी डैमेजेस. सर लिक्विडेटेड डैमेजेस है, देयर इज अ स्पेसिफिक नोटिफिकेशन फॉर लिक्विडेटेड डैमेजेस जिसके ऊपर में जीएसटी लगेगा कि नहीं लगेगा. ओके, दैट हैड कम आउट लास्ट ईयर इन अगस्त अराउंड दैट टाइम. उसमें क्या बोलता है सर, if you have a contract with the government or with any person and if there is any violation of the contract and if it is in the nature of only mere flow of money, मतलब बोलने का मतलब क्या है, वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में 50 क्लॉज है, उसमें से एक क्लॉज है आपका कि नॉन परफॉर्मेंस की लिक्विडिटी डैमेजेस और नॉन सप्लाई का कोई भी चीज है, तो जस्ट बिकॉज कि वो पर्टिकुलर क्लॉज एक ट्रिगर हो रहा है, दैट इज नॉट द ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ द एंटायर एग्रीमेंट. द ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ द एग्रीमेंट इज सेल धंधा. तो that will not be considered as a consideration for supply under section 15 and section 7. You will not have to pay any GST, means the government will not charge any GST along with the liquidated damages from you. You can take the benefit of that particular circular on the liquidated damages.
मतलब मेरा कहने का ये, आपका डिलीवरी डेट है 27 को, ठीक है, आपने 28 को डिलीवर किया, मतलब एक दिन के बाद आपका ट्रांसपोर्ट में माल जाएगा, एक दिन के बाद डिलीवर हो गया उसका डिपो और संपा लग गया 28 का. वो क्या करेगा, आपको 0.5% पर वीक के चार्ज.
That is fine. He will issue you debit notes
तो
for that.
नहीं, वहाँ पे क्या होता है, हमने अगर वो टैग मतलब वो जो वैल्यू काटा जाता है उसके वो क्या करते हैं, उसको कॉन्ट्री वैल्यू से काटते हैं जो कि इंक्लूडिंग टैक्स है. हम लोग उसको ऑब्जेक्शन में डालते हैं कि आप उसको टैक्स में मत काटो, आप बेसिक से माइनस करो, टैक्स फुल पे करो, क्योंकि टैक्स तो आप पूरा ले रहे हो. तो मतलब ये मैं इशू बता रहा हूँ, लेकिन ये वॉल्यूम ऑफ टैक्सेस बहुत ज्यादा.
सर इसमें आप उनको ये बोलिए, ये पर्टिकुलर सर्कुलर आई कैन शेयर विद यू आफ्टर दिस सेशन, काइंडली गिव देम दैट सर्कुलर. उसमें आप उनको बोलिए कि सर दिस इज अ मियर फ्लो ऑफ मनी, दिस इज नॉट द लिक्विडेटेड डैमेजेस, इज नॉट अ कंसीडरेशन. अगर कोई नॉन कंप्लीट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होता कि कोई ऐसा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होता कि उसका मुद्दा ही है आपका लिक्विडेटेड डैमेजेस का,
एक दिन या 2 दिन के बाद
वो ठीक है, उनको बोलिए अलग से डेबिट नोट इशू करने के लिए और टैक्स का एलिमेंट
नहीं कर रहे,
वो नहीं करे तो उनको आप सर सर्कुलर दीजिए. देयर आर सो मेनी केसेस वेयर आवर क्लाइंट्स आर डीलिंग विद दैट.
उस केसेस में क्या हम लोग क्रेडिट नोट इशू कर सकते हैं?
सर आप क्रेडिट नोट उसमें इशू कर सकते हैं, बट दैट विल बी ओनली एन अकाउंटिंग ये क्रेडिट नोट, दैट विल नॉट हैव एनी एस्पेक्ट ऑफ जीएसटी बिकॉज आपका फिर बैलेंस मैच नहीं होएगा. बिकॉज आपके हिसाब से क्या हो रहा है, वो आपका अकाउंट को फर्दर जो आपका ये जो डेबिट कर रहे हैं, राइट, या इशू योर डेबिट नोट, तो आप बोल रहे हैं कि आप फर्दर क्रेडिट नोट इशू करेंगे.
वो पूरा बिल ले रहा है, पूरा इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट ले रहा है, पैसा आपको कम दे रहा है इनपुट टैक्स.
No, that is wrong. That's what I'm saying. So you can definitely take the benefit of that particular circular. I can share that with you, and then you can ask them that they cannot reduce that particular amount in that particular contract as you're saying. They have to separately.
They are telling that your tax value is input including in the contract value so that we will withdraw the tax. मतलब वो ठीक है, आप काट के तो दे रहे हो, लेकिन उसका इनपुट भी आप ऊपर से, क्योंकि जब आप इनवॉइसिंग काट दो वो बाय डिफॉल्ट उनको दिख रहा है, तो वो बिना इनवॉइसिंग के आपको पेमेंट नहीं लेता है, वो GST में उसको शो कर लिया और फिर वो उसके ऊपर डेबिट मारता है, ठीक है?
Sir, you can definitely challenge that because ये तो केस आपका TDS का भी होता है because this has a contract value more than 2.5 lakh.
उसी में क्या है, अगर यही रिलेटेड टू सर्विस हो गया, ये तो पूछ के मैंने बोल दिया, वही पार्टी को हम लोग सर्विस भी किया, हमने 10 लाख का सर्विस दिया, जिसके ऊपर की आपका टैक्स बिल लग गया 10 लाख के ऊपर। उसने क्या किया, उसने कहा कि कोविड के टाइम में तुमने 1 साल का सर्विस नहीं किया, तो हम क्या करेंगे, जो एक्टिव उसमें खुला आपको सिर्फ 3 महीने का पेमेंट करेंगे, बाकी 7 महीने का काट देंगे। भाई लॉकडाउन शॉटडाउन में तो आपको जाने का जरूरत नहीं, मतलब जा नहीं पाते तो कैसे जाएंगे, लेकिन नहीं, हम लोग उसको काटेंगे, ठीक है, आप काट दो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। लेकिन हमने जो फाइल किया है टैक्स, वो जो 7 लाख के ऊपर टैक्स, 3 लाख का तो पेमेंट कर रहे हो, 3 लाख का टैक्स दो, बाकी 7 लाख का टैक्स क्यों ले रहे हो? नहीं, हम लोग 7 लाख के भी टैक्स ले लेंगे और तुमको एनडीपी लगा देंगे।
Sir, this is a case of fit case of unjust enrichment. अगर टैक्स अमाउंट वो वापस आपसे ले रही है, so they are not supposed to keep the tax amount.
और उसको
They can never take the tax amount.
उसने क्या किया, TDS काट के, गवर्नमेंट पार्टी है, TDS काट के दिखा दिया कि पार्टी को 3 लाख।
That is wrong, sir.
पार्टी को पेमेंट कितना हुआ, पार्टी को पेमेंट हो गया पूरा, तो उसमें आप TDS कर रहे हो पूरे
ग्रॉस करके, हाँ,
ग्रॉस करके, तो आपको पोर्टल पे दिखाई दिया इस पार्टी ने 10 लाख का पेमेंट ले लिया और उसने दिया पेमेंट कितना, 3 लाख।
That is wrong, sir. That is absolutely wrong. आपका जो 10 लाख का जो इनवॉइस है, जिसके ऊपर में 1,80,000 का जो आप टैक्स कलेक्ट किए हैं, डिपार्टमेंट से आप जो पेमेंट की है, अगर वो 7 महीना का पैसा काटना भी चाहते हैं, तो वो एक तो पर्टिकुलर लिक्विडिटी डैमेजेस का एक तो पर्टिकुलर डेबिट नोट आपको इशू करेंगे, which is an accounting debit note, is what I am saying.
वो नहीं करके TDS पूरा अमाउंट के ऊपर फाइल करके और दिखा दिया कि पार्टी ने पूरा,
वो गलत है सर, तो आपको उसकी लायबिलिटी क्रिएट हो गया ना, आपका सेल दिख रहा है 10 लाख और उनका परचेज दिख रहा है 3 लाख रुपए, तो यू आर बाउंड टू पे 1,80,000 इन ईदर केस, आपको बेनिफिट मिलेगा नहीं क्रेडिट नोट का जो है। दिस इज रॉन्ग, दैट्स व्हाट आई एम सेइंग सर। आप वो सर्कुलर को दिखाइए, दे विल हैव टू बाइंड विद दैट।
गवर्नमेंट पार्टी है तो
Sir, I know that, but circular we can always say that the circular departmental.
So can we fight this particular point on court?
Sir, we can definitely fight in the court, but before that, we should always say that departmental circulars are binding on the tax department and the government officials. तो उनको आप एक और चीज, उनका जहां पर आपका रेंज ऑफिस है, वहां पर जाकर के आप एक नोट भी लिखा सकते हैं अपने रेंज ऑफिसर से, शोइंग द सर्कुलर एंड दे कैन सेंड इट टू देम सेइंग कि ये पर्टिकुलर मेरा जो डिपार्टमेंट ऑफिसर है, ही आल्सो हैज दिस पर्टिकुलर ओपिनियन एंड आई एम पर्टिकुलर व्हाटएवर यू आर शेयरिंग विद दिस, तो वी कैन डेफिनेटली टेक दैट।
और एक लास्ट, सपोज यू हैव 5 ब्रांचेस अक्रॉस द इंडिया, ठीक है, लेकिन बिल आपका एक ही फैक्ट्री से हो रहा है, 5 ब्रांच जहाँ पे है, वहाँ पे कुछ आपका सर्विसेज भी ले रहे हो, जैसे आपने घर लिया है, उसका GST का बिल आता है, कमर्शियल कॉम्प्लेक्स में उसका मतलब टेलीफोन बिल का GST आता है, उसी इनपुट, तो वहाँ पे इनपुट आपका एक्यूमुलेट हो रहा है, तो सर्विस आप ले रहे हो, इनपुट एक्यूमुलेट हो रहा है, लेकिन वहाँ से आपका बिलिंग नहीं है, सो दैट
सर टेक रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ ISD, इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, जहाँ पर जो ब्रांच में ऐसा हो रहा है जहाँ पर सेल ही नहीं हो रहा है, लेकिन वो सब ब्रांचेस के लिए इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल, जनरल एक्सपेंसेस, मार्केटिंग एक्सपेंसेस सब लेने हैं, उसके बाद में ISD का जो आपका प्रोसीजर होता है, यू कैन इशू सेपरेट इनवॉइसेस एंड पास ऑन द क्रेडिट एज पर द प्रोपोर्शन ऑफ द सेल्स, जितने ब्रांचेस में आपका सेल हो रहा है, ब्रांचेस मतलब डिस्टिंक्ट एंटिटीज,
ब्रांचेस में सेल नहीं होता है, ब्रांचेस इसको सर्विस एंड मार्केटिंग सपोर्ट, वहाँ से मार्केटिंग होती है, सपोर्ट होती है, सारा सेल्स फैक्ट्री से हो रहा है, लेकिन जो 5 ऑफिसेस है, वहाँ पे जो वॉल्यूम ऑफ आपका GST एक्यूमुलेट कर रहा है, उसको हम लोग नॉक ऑफ कैसे करें?
सर दैट इज व्हाट आई एम सेइंग, जहां पर आपका पर्टिकुलर इनपुट एक्यूमुलेट हो रहा है, वो पर्टिकुलर ब्रांच जो आपका GST रजिस्ट्रेशन है, उसको ISD का एक रजिस्ट्रेशन ले लीजिए, सो दैट ही कैन पास ऑन द क्रेडिट टू द अदर ब्रांचेस के अदर डिस्टिंक्ट एंटिटीज, जिससे कि वो सेल नहीं कर रही है, सेल मिल रहा है उनको और वो इनपुट से परचेज कर रहे हैं, तो इनपुट एक्यूमुलेट होते जा रहा है, बट दे डोंट हैव एनी आउटपुट टैक्स टू सेट ऑफ एंड दे कैन नॉट पास इट ऑन। कैश लेजर में PMT 09 में यू कैन पास ऑन, बट क्रेडिट लेजर यू कैन नॉट पास ऑन, तो उसके लिए इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर का रजिस्ट्रेशन लेकर के यू कैन पास ऑन द क्रेडिट अक्रॉस योर डिफरेंट ब्रांचेस, सेइंग कि दैट ऑल द ब्रांचेस आर यूजिंग दिस कॉमन सर्विसेज, सो वी कैन डू दैट, दैट इज नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम। सेकंड, एक और चीज, अगर आप इंटर ब्रांच सर्विस भी करते हैं, जैसे आप बोले कि हेड ऑफिस से फॉर एग्जांपल,
अभी वो सेटअप के लिए हम वो मतलब ऑप्शन ले रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं पूछ रहा हूं कोई दूसरा ऑप्शन है क्या?
दूसरा ऑप्शन भी है सर, पहला दूसरा चीज है कि इंटर ब्रांच सर्विस हो रहा है, मानिए हेड ऑफिस ब्रांच ऑफिस को सर्विस दे रहे हैं फॉर मार्केटिंग, लाइसेंसिंग और एक्सेट्रा। अब आप उसमें बोलेंगे सर अर्लियर देयर वाज अ पर्टिकुलर प्रॉब्लम कि GST लगेगा बिकॉज़ इट इज Schedule 1 कि even in cases of related parties, if there is no consideration, then there will be what your tax amount, right? So अब इसमें क्या कर सकते हैं? You can take the benefit of open market value जो मैं corporate guarantee में बोला, 10 रुपया, 50 रुपया, 5,000 रुपया, 50,000 rupees, any value का bill issue कर दीजिए head office to the branch office, it will be considered as open market. It will. This is second proviso to Rule 28 sub Rule 1. इसका benefit ले सकते हैं. The invoice value becomes the open market value in case the recipient is eligible for 100% input tax credit. Law allows that. तो आपका input accumulate नहीं होएगा. ब्रांच में आपका 1 करोड़ 2 करोड़ नहीं होएगा. 10 रुपया 20 रुपया 50 respectable amount 1,000 5,000 का input आप issue करिए, उतना amount आप collect करिए, payment करिए, input आपका कम accumulate होगा. You can definitely take the benefit. Definitely. If there is no other question, then I would like to close the session. Thank you all for the patience. Thank you all for the interaction.
Next, the icing on the cake was from Mr. Tulsian, chartered accountant, who gave us a beautiful portrayal of all the GST complexities. What has just happened 2 days back in its 54th amendment meeting or GST council meeting, and he has also taken us into the future. What's going to also happen in the future? When this topic of WhatsApp was decided, I was just wondering, awareness session on exploring export recent developments through organized by EEPC India. Next was this recent developments or recent changes, but in GST and the way forward. I was just wondering what could be the way forward after having listened to him and thoroughly clear about any subject that has spoken. And I'll just make a simple revelation. During my entire career, I have not have listened to anybody with such rapt attention for a long 55 minutes. The aspects of the caliber with his respect will again love to listen to him in the future endeavors. Thank you all. Thank you all the participants who have spared their valuable time and joined us in this beautiful discussion.